We have a ton of NHL signings to discuss today, including several RFAs, we have UFAs, and a whole bunch of entry-level contracts for 2019 NHL drafted players. We'll get into all the latest coming up next. Now, welcome back here to Top Shelf Hockey. Now, we have a lot of breaking news to cover here today. We have a ton of signings, so let's dive right in. First of all, I want to get started with UFA defenseman Chris Wideman has signed a one-year contract with the Anaheim Ducks, valued at $700,000. It's a two-way deal. He's guaranteed to make at least $400K. His minor salary is $350, and there must be a clause in there where he is guaranteed at least a limited amount of NHL time. So he will make $400,000 or more, up to $700K. But of course, Chris Wideman really bounced around a lot last year. He's 29 years old. He started with Ottawa, had a fair bit of opportunity there, played there for a few years at the NHL level, and of course was the main culprit in an Uber scandal. After being traded out of Ottawa, he ended up in Edmonton, ended up in Florida for a while, and ended up bouncing around quite a bit. And it wasn't really clear if he was going to get another opportunity, but the Ducks have signed him here to a one-year deal. Now, outside of that scandal with the Uber video, he is a pretty solid puck-moving defenseman. He's not overly big, but he can produce some offense. Might get an opportunity to possibly be a third-pair guy, or he may have to be a call-up option in the minors. Hard to say. Either way, another depth move here by the Anaheim Ducks. Now, as I mentioned, we also have several restricted free agents have signed with their existing clubs as well, including Andre Burakovsky signing a one-year contract for $3.25 million with the Colorado Avalanche. Of course, the Avalanche recently acquired him from the Capitals in a trade, and this was actually his qualifying offer amount that was originally tendered to him. He just took some time to decide if he was going to accept it or not, or possibly consider going to arbitration. But Burakovsky has accepted his qualifying offer and is now signed to a one-year contract here with the Avalanche. The Columbus Blue Jackets have signed forward Sonny Milano to a one-year deal as well. It's $874,000. Of course, we saw Sonny Milano in the news for some different reasons here in the last little while. Got in trouble with the law, but obviously that's not impacting this deal here. He does accept his qualifying offer, gets his one-year deal, $874,000, and he will have a court date, which I believe has been set somewhere, so right around the time the training camp starts. The Florida Panthers have signed goaltender Samuel Montembeault to a one-year deal at $700K. Obviously, Montembeault more than likely will be the backup goaltender to the newly signed Sergei Bobrovsky here with the Florida Panthers. Of course, last year they had Luongo and Reimer, who are both now not with the team any longer. Of course, Montembeault did get some limited action as well because both of those goalies missed time last year due to injuries, and he didn't do too badly, so I would more than likely say here that he's going to be the backup here for Bobrovsky. Obviously, given the hefty salary that they paid Bobrovsky, they need to have a cheap backup goaltender, and obviously he can provide that here, so we'll see how things go, but he's back under contract with the Panthers here for another year at $700K. The Ottawa Senators have signed forward Michael Carcione, who they acquired from the Maple Leafs in that Cody Ceci deal for Nikita Zaitsev here not too long ago. Has been signed to a two-year contract at $700K as well. Pretty good possibility here that Carcione will end up playing with the American Hockey League team for the Senators. Obviously, they have a ton of young forwards trying to make this team out of training camp, so I guess we'll see how he does here and what kind of impression he can make. He has put up some pretty good numbers in the American League in the past, playing with both the Toronto Marlies and in Utica with Vancouver before he was acquired by the Maple Leafs organization. So I guess we'll see here, but he does get a two-year opportunity with the Senators to try to prove himself here further. The Carolina Hurricanes have signed a couple of their RFAs, including defenseman Gustav Forsling and forward Clark Bishop. Both are signed to one-year contract. Forsling, who they just recently acquired here from the Chicago Blackhawks, gets a one-year deal at $874,000, and Bishop gets a one-year deal at $700K. Bishop more than likely will play in the American Hockey League. Forsling's hard to say exactly where he's going to end up. They do have a lot of defensemen in Carolina, so I'm not sure how much opportunity he's going to get. Probably at best he might start the year as the number 7 guy, but it is possible he could end up here in the minors as well. The Los Angeles Kings have signed a bunch of their restricted free agents, including defenseman Daniel Brickley to a 2-year deal at $700K. Of course, Brickley played his first full pro season last year after being signed by the Los Angeles Kings as one of the top college free agents the year before, coming out of U.S. college hockey. Didn't really get a whole lot of opportunity with the Kings last year. Spent a year in the American Hockey League and now gets a 2-year extension. But given all the changes that the Kings have gone through here, that they very well might get more of an opportunity for this coming season for Brickley. They've also signed forward Michael Amadio as well, who was originally a 2014 selection here by the Los Angeles Kings. Amadio's played parts of 3 seasons in the American Hockey League, but finally kind of cracked more of the Kings lineup last year, getting into 43 NHL games. So he has signed a 2-year contract extension here with Los Angeles. His average annual value is $700K. They've also signed defenseman Matt Roy to a 2-year contract extension. Of course, he was originally a 2015 draft selection, but went through the U.S. college hockey system and played 3 seasons before turning pro here. Roy was able to suit up for 25 NHL games with the Kings last year, putting up 6 points, so we'll see if he can build on that for the coming season. Also re-signed winger Sheldon Rempel, who they had originally had signed as a college free agent and was now a restricted free agent. He's been signed to a 1-year contract extension. His average annual value will be $874,000. He did get into a few NHL games last year. He spent the bulk of the year in the American Hockey League, though, with the Ontario Reign, and had a really solid year. He ended up putting up 40 points in 59 games, so for his first pro season, that's not too bad. So we'll see if he can build on that for the coming season here. As I mentioned, we also have several members of the 2019 NHL Draft class sign their entry-level contracts here with their pro teams. All of the players we're going to talk about today were all first-round selections. We might as well stick with LA since we discovered many of their RFA signings. They've also signed their 2019 first-round pick, Tobias Bjornfoot, the Swedish defenseman who they selected here in the first round. The Ottawa Senators have signed their first-round pick, defenseman Lassi Thompson, of course originally from Finland, playing in the Western Hockey League here for the Kelowna Rockets. It is believed that he will go back and play in Finland for the coming season. The Buffalo Sabres have also signed their first-round selection, center Dylan Cozens, who was playing in the WHL for the Lethbridge Hurricanes. More than likely, he goes back to the WHL for the coming season, but he will attend training camp here for the Sabres and see how it goes. But more than likely, I would think he'll need another year at junior before he makes the jump to professional hockey. The Detroit Red Wings have also signed their first-round selection, defenseman Moritz Seider, the German defender who was selected. It was a really high selection here and surprised many people at the 2019 NHL Draft. The Red Wings were incredibly high on this young defender and obviously were not afraid to take him with the number 6 overall selection. So he's now under contract here with the Detroit Red Wings. It's not quite clear exactly where he's going to play next season. I'm sure he'll attend training camp, and then between himself and the Red Wings will decide where it's best for him to play for the coming year. The Winnipeg Jets have also signed their first-round selection, Finnish defenseman Ville Heinola, now under contract here with Winnipeg. He more than likely will not play in the NHL for the coming season. The Islanders have also signed their first-round selection, Simon Holmstrom, as well, who's likely going to be playing over in Sweden for the coming season. That is all your latest NHL signings here for today. There should be plenty more coming. There's still all kinds of restricted free agents out there that are looking for contracts. There's still some UFAs out there as well. Guys like Jake Gardner, not signed as of yet. And we very well could have some more members of the 2019 NHL Draft class sign their entry-level contracts. So stay tuned to Top Shelf Hockey. I'll keep you all up to date with all the breaking news from around the NHL. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing and turning on your notification bell so you don't miss any future content. And give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I'd appreciate it if you did. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.